Chad and Tim Beasley with eXp Realty. And once again, we're here with Gary Eubanks at South Point Bank. And we are going to give you our market minute again, or so. We went a little longer than a minute last time, but we'll see what we can do.
So this week we were going to talk about a little bit about timing the market. When is the good time to buy? When is a good time to sell? And my thoughts on that is just whatever your life is dictating, what your circumstances are, you've got to look at that more than you do what the market's doing as far as interest rates and have prices peaked out. Is this the highest I can get and all that sort of thing? Trying to time the real estate market is really a lot like trying to time the stock market. It's really next to impossible. You know, we've had clients that have tried to do that and it not worked out great for them. You know, I would say first time buyers, especially when you're thinking about, hey, am I going to do something now? Am I going to wait a year? The thing is, we know what the market's doing today. We can predict that because we see it and we're in it. We don't know what's going to happen 6 months from now or a year from now if you wait. You're dealing with what's known today. Homeownership is the biggest wealth building tool for most families that is available to them. So I would say jumping into the game and just getting started so that you can get in there and start building that wealth through the appreciation of that asset and paying it down as you make your monthly payments and building that equity is important. If you don't get in, you don't benefit from that. And honestly, while you're renting, I've heard several times, and I think there's a lot of truth to this. It's a little bit overplayed, but if you're worried about a 6.5%, 7% interest rate, well, while you're renting, you're effectively paying a 100% interest rate because you're gaining nothing. So those are things that I think that if you'll really look at what are your circumstances, what are your needs, and then get with Jen and I and with Gary, and we can kind of look at what's your personal situation and put together a strategy and a plan for accomplishing what you're trying to accomplish in the best way possible, given what the market's doing today.
Yeah, I would say it's so important to find experts in these fields. So you got to get an agent that knows what they're doing, have relationships out there to get in there and fight for you and help you find that perfect fit. And then you get a mortgage person that knows all the different avenues and all the different programs to work with something that is a great fit to help you get to that closing table.
So Gary, when you're working with somebody and they ask you, speaking of timing the market, when they ask you something like, when should I lock my interest rate? What are your thoughts on that? What's the best time to lock?
Yeah, great question, Chad. And I'm asked that quite a bit, actually. Should I lock my rate today or should I wait till tomorrow or next week? Typically, the answer is if you're okay with the payment that the rate today gives you, then it's time to lock. Trying to gamble on a rate within just a short period of time, a day or two or a week or two even, is really a difficult thing to do. Just like you talked about with the stock market, should I buy today or wait till tomorrow? Well, trying to predict that is very, very difficult, if not impossible. So today, what I wanted to do also, Chad, was give you a kind of an outlook of what happened last week. Look back a week or so. It wasn't a great week for rates. Manufacturing index came out on Wednesday and wasn't superb in our favor. And so rates actually ticked up about an eighth or quarter of a point last week, still in the low sevens on a 30-year fix. Okay, so that's about where we are right now. We still do believe the rates will start coming down fairly quickly, maybe even later this month. Okay, so we still believe that they're going to be good, be coming back down, but right now they're in the low seven primarily. What I would like to do is go over with you a few changes that are about to be made in the industry with regard to VA, FHA, and conventional loans. And two of the three are good news, by the way. Okay, so on a VA,
We like
loan,
good news.
the good news is also we're happy to see it. So
Yes.
on VA, they are reducing the VA funding fee a little bit for veterans, for first-time and subsequent use veterans. That's great. That's starting in April. And then on March 20th, FHA loans that are insured March 20th or beyond, actually they are decreasing the annual MIP rate, all right, from 0.85 to 0.55. That's a pretty large decrease in payment for some people on an FHA loan. It's actually most likely what it's going to end up doing is driving some more people to FHA that may have gone conventional in the past.
For those that don't speak mortgagees, MIP is mortgage insurance premium. So it's the mortgage.
That's right. That's right. It's something that's extra you pay along in your monthly payment that now will be lower than it has been for a number of years.
That's great.
On an FHA loan. Good news. Bad news on a conventional loan, the agencies, meaning Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, are increasing their fees. They're increasing their fees, what they call their agency fees or loan level price adjustments for those who have a higher credit score or a lower credit score or borrowing a little more than 80%, those type of things, they are increasing their fees, which really means that irregardless of what the market is doing, just those fee increases alone are going to increase someone's rate by about an eighth of a point typically. So before these go into effect, if your rate was 7, it's going to be about 7 1/8 or 7 1/4 now because of the agency fees, which again is going to drive more people most likely to FHA.
Right.
When there's a question mark of, okay, what
Remind
should
us,
we do?
Gary, for our market here in Central Alabama, what is the max loan amount for an FHA loan?
It's just gone up. It's in the mid 400s now.
Okay. That's what
Which
I
is
was
really,
thinking.
really good. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a pretty high mark for
Right. So
for
most
this
home
area.
buyers, with our average prices being well below that, most home buyers, FHA would be something that they could consider.
Absolutely. The pros of FHA loan, Chad, are low down payment, 3.5%, a little bit better rate than conventional. Now, lower PMI than it has been. In the past, that PMI has been, for the most part, higher than what a conventional loan would be. Okay. Now, with it lowering down to 0.55 per year annually, it's going to make FHA a much more attractive loan than it has been in the past.
Well, and I see people being able to keep more cash in their pocket if they're not having to put down as much, which in turn might, as we see these little tactics creeping back in of appraisal gaps and that kind of thing, help first-time home buyers or people that don't have to put as much down, then they can kind of play with that a little bit of trying to be competitive.
Great point. And a lot of people think that FHA is just a first-time home buyer loan. It is not. You can get a FHA loan regardless of how many homes you own, or if you own one now. It doesn't matter. A lot of people think that FHA is only for first-time home buyers, and that's not the case.
Well,
All right.
I like having good news along with, a sprinkle of a
Yeah, I
little
mean,
bad,
you gave
but
us
I like
2 good
good.
things for the one bad thing. So that's
Do what I
pretty
can,
good ratio.
Jennifer. Do what I can.
Thank you. But I think what we're all seeing right now is that there are still a lot of buyers out there. There are not as many sellers. It is competitive. So it is important that people partner with professionals that
Right.
know what they're doing to help them be as competitive as possible to try to,
Right.
like Chad said, just get in the game.
If you're a seller, I mean, there are definitely opportunities out there. There's not enough inventory for the buyers that are out there looking. We just had a listing go active today over in McCalla, and we've already got, I mean, we just put it on maybe 2 or 3 hours ago, and there's already probably 4 or 5 showings set up on that home. If you're thinking about selling, it's still a great time. If you're thinking about buying house to house, it can be tough. I mean, there are some that are getting multiple. We saw one last weekend that we had a buyer looking at and trying to buy that ended up with 12 offers on it. So some of that's unusual in today's market because it has cooled some. You're seeing that some. Other homes are sitting there for a couple of weeks before they get an offer. So you just kind of have to, it's house by house.
Yeah, it's not impossible. We have gotten 3 contracts finalized this week.
Yep.
It is not impossible, and we're here to help.
All right. If y'all need help with anything in the coming week, give us a call. Chad and Jen Beasley, eXp Realty. You can reach us at 205-401-2423. Gary, how can they get you?
Sure. My cell phone number is the best place to contact me. 205-410-4946.
Awesome. Thanks again. We'll talk next week.
Bye.